Good evening. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority regular meeting agenda. Today's date is Wednesday, July 20th, 2022. The time is 5:33. I'll take a roll call. Mayor Moreno here. Mayor Pro Tem Raul Ureña.
Here.
Councilmember Camilo Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Gloria Romo.
Here.
Councilmember Rosia Arreola Fernandez. Thank you. We have a quorum. There's a closed session meeting called to order due to the declaration of emergency. This meeting is being held pursuant to AB 361 approved by the Governor of California on September 16, 2021. And some or all the city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference. Pursuant to Imperial County Public Health Department guidelines, city council meetings are now open for public attendance at 100% of capacity of the council chambers. Public participation will continue to be available in the following ways. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream at http://communityspectrum.org live at 6:30 p.m. or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at www.facebook.com/City of Calexico CA. Members of the public will be able to make public comments in the following ways. In-person comments. Submit public comments via email by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, July 20th, 2022 to our city clerk at email address gggarcia@calexico.ca.gov or via fax to 760-768-2103. You may make public comments via Zoom from a PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or Android device. The number to call is 1-669-900-6833. The webinar ID number is 856-5846-1545, and the passcode is 982201. Public comments not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on closed session items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please say your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting via personal slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your question and comments to the City Council. Do we have any public comments? No. Thank you. It is 5:35. We will adjourn to closed session.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
may I please offer one item that came to the attention after the agenda was posted to add to the closed session agenda. The Government's Code 54952.2B allows, with a 2/3 vote, to add an agenda item, and there was a matter that came before the city concerning the City of Calexico versus Robert Bergeson that we would like to discuss with you in closed session tonight. So if I can ask for somebody to make a motion to add that to the agenda, you can consider
Thank you.
that.
Anybody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to add the emergency item to the agenda.
Okay, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Arreola Fernandez. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. There we can go. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take a roll call. Mayor Moreno is here. Mayor Pro Tem Raul Ureña.
Here.
Councilmember Camilo Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Gloria Romo.
Here.
Councilmember Rosia Arreola Fernandez. Thank you very much. We have a quorum. Please stand up for a pledge of allegiance.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
City of Calexico mission statement. Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Please remain standing. Invocation, Ms. Romo?
Thank you. Lord, our God, give us the wisdom to conduct this meeting, always thinking of the benefits of our citizen. Amen.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Our next item is closed session announcements.
Mr. Mayor, on the two items, there was direction given to staff on both items.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Mr. Ureña. Any for second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Romo. All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Thank you. Announcement, these proceedings may be viewed on the Calexico, City of Calexico website at www.calexico.ca.gov the Friday following the City Council meetings. Community Office Hours, Mayor Moreno will be held by appointment. Please contact the City Clerk's office at 760-768-2102 to schedule an appointment. Our next item is public comments and appearances, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and address and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay City Council meetings with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comments when we get to them on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Tonight we have a total of 7, and I see some people coming in. We might have some more, but we'll start with Mr. Gronick, Robert Gronick. Thank you.
My name is Robert Gronich. I live at 1948 Clinton Avenue in Calexico, California. Good evening, members of the City Council, Mayor Moreno, Mayor Pro Tem Ureña, honorable city employees, and noble residents of Calexico. Today, I am here to raise hope in the belief that downtown Calexico can and should become a greater hub for good businesses and economic prosperity. This economic prosperity would provide much-needed tax revenues that could then be used to truly improve the quality of life for all of Calexico's residents. As many of you know, my family has operated Garland's clothing store in downtown Calexico for over 62 years. Our business is fortunate to still be open today. However, the question is, for how long? Downtown Calexico has been deteriorating since the mid-1980s, and it's getting worse every day. Looking forward, we must ask ourselves, how much more deterioration are we, the stakeholders, willing to accept? And when I say we, the stakeholders, I mean all of us, everybody here, business owners, property owners, past and present government officials, and yes, residents of Calexico. All of us here are stakeholders, and we all share ownership for the downtown we have today. If we, the stakeholders, want to rehabilitate downtown Calexico, we need to dream bigger than car shows, Halloween carnivals, and homeless encampments. These gestures have good intentions, but they by themselves do not do anything to improve the long-term future of downtown Calexico. There's a well-known proverb that says, where there is no vision, the people shall perish. To revive downtown Calexico, we need to develop a long-term vision. All the stakeholders need to get together and paint a clear image and vision of what we want our future downtown to look like and feel like. What kinds of stores and shops can we imagine in our future downtown? What kinds of restaurants do we want our families and friends to be able to go to? What kinds of service providers and entertainment venues do we have? In other words, what does our vision of downtown Calexico look and feel like? We shouldn't be asking, why can't we have a Starbucks in downtown Calexico? Or why did Nike and JCPenney leave Calexico? Instead, we should be saying, let's offer businesses incentives to move to downtown Calexico. But this can only be accomplished with a clear vision in mind. Because only with a clear vision can we begin to work on a strategy and an action plan that will move us towards our vision. Now, I know that tonight we won't get to planning the next 5 to 10 or 15 years of downtown Calexico. But hopefully, I have planted a small seed in your imagination of what a prosperous, beautiful, welcoming, and bustling downtown business district would mean for all our city and our residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Our next speaker is Norma Valenzuela.
Who is Norma?
We go to
Norma Valenzuela?
Norma Valenzuela? No? Okay. Our next speaker is Antonio Garcia.
Good evening, buenas tardes. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and our newest city manager. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here today to, not to sell you anything yet, no. I'm here to let you know, give you an update on CPAL, Calexico Parents Athletic Association, and our binational tournament, first annual binational soccer tournament, which we have already allocated to November 5th and 6th. It's a weekend, okay? A lot of people have been contacted. We want to let you know as soon as possible. You guys can get involved, help us out as much as you can. We have teams that are confirmed coming over from all over Baja, Sonora, Sinaloa, Palm Springs, Coachella, Phoenix, Yuma, San Diego, just to name a few. Because of the lack of facilities, we may have to include El Centro and Brawley to help us out with fields. The way you can help us out for that is to make sure these fields get irrigated as much as possible. The ones we use now are retention basins, but we have to do with what we have. The new one that's projected over there at the Cordova Park, we got to get on that. I don't know if it's going to make it by that time that we're expecting. And I also want to invite you all this Friday to come over to the Cordova Park. There's a finished soccer field. There will be a final, a girls' final, 15 and up, girls, at 8 o'clock. And it means a lot to them when they're there, when you guys can help us out handing out medals and trophies. It means a lot to us, to me and Ms. Carmen Estrada. Basically, Calexico PAL hasn't changed. It keeps on growing and growing. We have the 3 leagues, the minors and the majors, and now we have the women's league. Over 33,000 participants so far and growing. We have towns that want us to join them, but once we say no, we're strong enough, they join us. I invite you all Friday if possible, and I need for you guys to please water those parks, those retention basins as much as possible so we can have it ready for November, and we should have a good tournament. Big people are involved, including our neighbor here in the other building, on the other block. He's been made aware of it. They want it to happen. So do we. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Antonio. Next speaker is Belinda Alvarado.
Good evening, Mayor Moreno, Councilwoman Ariola, Councilwoman Romo, Councilman Garcia, Councilman Ureña, and City Manager Warren. My name is Belinda Alvarado. I'm a resident of Calexico. I am speaking today as both a longtime Calexico resident and as a local businesswoman. With my 3 minutes, I just want to highlight the special inequity that our local workforce, including myself, have received from the past events at City Hall. Please keep in mind that both myself and my mostly immigrant Spanish-speaking workforce crew were raised as migrant farm workers. I started working in the fields at 12 years old to help my parents. I have personally witnessed the struggles that our local families have endured for a long time and as of today in Calexico in this county. I am deeply disappointed in the recent actions of the newly hired city manager. A vacant Bank of America building is being renovated into a mixed-use project with several apartments and several office spaces. The property owner believed in investing in Calexico. He did not ask for any grants or waivers. He spent millions and he helped employ many Calexico residents with a healthy payroll, and he and his investors were going to purchase more vacant buildings. That's what we wanted. Mr. Gronich just showed us depleted buildings. And fix them up for more mixed-use projects for our downtown Calexico. At least that was the idea. I invite and dare all of the council people and the city manager to walk downtown to Calexico tonight and experience what it's like. And count the many vacant buildings we have, and it is growing, and our poor fire department has to deal with many arson fires every week. Downtown has become a war zone. You would think that the new administration would be appreciative of the new businesses and new apartments at the Bank of America building. Apparently not. She is delaying the project and jeopardizing the livelihood of the hardworking small business owners who work hard to make a living just like me. It is unfortunate that our hardworking residents cannot get the opportunity to get construction jobs, and it is sad to see our downtown getting destroyed by arson fires and vandalism in your watch. City Hall, as past years, has made many poor decisions. And in past years, that has impacted our community in many ways, as we can see right now. Let's not continue the pattern. Do something about it. But it seems that our new City Hall team is making more bad decisions, and I will speak up on that issue on item 7 later on. Mr. Ureña, I thought you supported working people. I'm one of those working people, and some of them that are here too. I have tenants too, that they are unable to go in because I don't have the notice of completion. But it seems you are the same old Calexico system. Prove me wrong, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Alex Barone.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, City Manager, City Clerk, I'm the chairman of BID, and for over a month, I've been trying to have an emergency meeting. As you can see, a lot of business people are here today. I've called many of them because nothing is being done. We have the Rashids here that are pillars of the community, the Gronish, there's other Rashids here as well, and the Risings, all business people that have contributed to the history of Calexico, the well-being of Calexico, and we're turning our backs on them. And how are we doing it? We're not doing our job. And I put myself in front because I'm a chairman of the BID, and I'm trying to get meetings to get funding for them. They need it. We have a dirty downtown, a very unsafe downtown. What's happened to this? What's happened to Calexico? I was talking to Robert Gronich, and I was telling him if our parents were alive today, our fathers, they'd be crying because Calexico was a gold mine. We paid more taxes downtown than the city of Los Angeles. That's how much, that's the potential we have, and we forgot about them. So we need to get on the ball, and I plead to our city manager that we need to get
a meeting for our bid going. With the little funding we have there, we can start promotion, we can do a little fix-up, and getting together with downtown people. Also, I'm looking for collaboration. He mentioned, why isn't Starbucks here? Why did J.C. Penney's leave? We need a strong person in economic development. You know, we don't have, I don't see an economic development person. We need somebody to promote our city. It's, Calexico was the jewel of the valley, and now we're a little carbon. You know, nothing is being done to help. So when I call for a meeting, time is of the essence. I'm a business person. Every hour, every day that goes by that we're not doing something good for our business, promoting it, helping our employees enhance, we're losing money. We've already seen downtown, it's in shambles. And I do want to thank Mrs. Romo, because, you know, she's been calling me and saying, Alex, what's going on? When's your meeting? I've been sending emails. I've been calling, and no meetings. Something else that I've been telling our business people is the ARPA funds. We need to know how that money can be spent. You know, I believe it's 8 or 9 million. Can somebody tell me the amount? What's the amount, Mr. Ureña? Is it?
Total 9 million, nos quedan 7 millones.
Okay, 7 million. Okay, let's do outreach. You know, see what they can do with the buildings that are abandoned, that are burned down. You know, maybe Mr. Granich, Mr. Rashid, Mr. Holloway at Sam Ellis, who also is very interested. Maybe they need a few bucks to clean up their store, do some renovation. I plead to the city council, mayor, we need your help. All the city council, because you guys have the equal power. He is the voice for you. And the city manager, I talked to you directly. We need your help also, because you are the person that takes order from your city council. So we need action with our downtown. We need to promote it. Look at what Mexicali has done with their downtown. It's wonderful. I want to see Calexico like that, for prosperity for all. Not only for it's not only the business people, it's for all. Thank you, City Council, and I really encourage you to take hands on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dirk Kahan.
Thank you. I would like to say before I start well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, the council, thank you for the opportunity to address the council tonight. Before I say my prepared comments, I would like to say I haven't heard, I thought my position was, I was alone. Hearing the last few speakers, especially Mr. Granich and the last speaker, I realize that it's a significant problem for the city, and I'm not the only one that's seeing this, even though I don't particularly live here. My name is Dirk Kahan. I'm from Spring Valley, California. I sit right outside San Diego. I'm a developer and a small business owner. I've been doing business in Calexico for over 10 years, and I've rehabilitated several properties around the city. Most of them were residential, but currently I'm the general partner of Elavari Limited Partnership. It's the group that renovated the Bank of America building. I'm no black tie investor, or I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm just a normal person. I work for other people that have the money to put forth and redevelop Calexico. I'm married, I have 3 children, I work hard just like our tenants do, and we all have our dreams. Before that, I was a Navy SEAL for 20 years, and it was that drive and refusal to quit. Sorry, I'm old too. In the face of never quitting, in the face of overwhelming challenges that's kept this project alive, and not disintegrating into another burned out hulk that the city has so much of. After retiring from the Navy, I went back to school and received my master's degree in business administration from San Diego State and my master's degree in real estate from the University of San Diego. And in fact, I did my capstone project and thesis on Imperial County, but more specifically, Calexico. From my perspective, Calexico's location and demographics give it a unique position for an opportunity for outsized growth. However, what I failed to recognize was the internal disorder and lack of concise vision that has hindered progress. For the past 3 years, I've been fighting an uphill battle to assure my investors that Calexico would be an excellent place to invest capital. As the building renovation came along, investors became more comfortable, but the prospects of the city building came along, With the prospects of the city as the building began to take shape, despite a slow start 3 years ago, the recent progress over the past year gave my investors hope that the city had turned a corner in its hapless bureaucracy. And for a time, it appeared promising, and we would do other projects. With that optimism, we also acquired the Greyhound building on First Street. But all that changed in April, when the new delays began. And now we're deliberating on how to proceed with the Greyhound building. Previously, we were actively pursuing 3 other dilapidated projects in downtown Calexico. Unfortunately, due to the extreme difficulties in completing our B of A project, again disappointing my investors, they pulled back their funds they committed to Calexico. As of Monday, I've lost over $3 million in investor funds that were committed to redevelopment projects in downtown Calexico. Instead, they decided to move forward on a project we have in the Central Business District in El Cajon, California, just outside San Diego. In addition, another large investor is considering reallocating his support for Calexico projects to other cities. While a significant portion of the redevelopment projects in this city request and receive grants and other subsidies, Elivari LP, on the other hand, did not request nor receive any government assistance. And we're committed to providing high-quality residential and commercial space wherever we work. I'm committed to improving downtown. I strongly believe that the capital improvements will increase commerce and growth. Calexico has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in presentations and marketing to attract outside capital, but then turns and disincentivizes continued investment with seemingly deliberate roadblocks and difficulties in navigating the city process to completion. I believe there's great promise for the city of Calexico if managerial, political, and regulatory uncertainty that embroils the city can be resolved, and the needs of your citizens and constituents are
Mr.
considered.
Dirk, can you wrap it up?
political
Mr. Dirk, can
That
you
was it.
please back it up? Okay, done. Thank you.
Gracias.
Our next speaker is Angel de Dios.
Mr. Dirk, thank you for having confidence in investing in Calexico. Thank you.
Tell your investors not to lose faith.
Yes,
He's trying, but
Need support.
we're getting together.
Good evening, Council. First of all, I want to congratulate you for your new position, and I really want to say I'm really happy to see your faces here in Calexico. I think that's always refreshing. I'm here with Imperial Valley Equity and Justice. I am an intern. I just graduated from Calexico High School. I am a recent alumni, and I'm going to be attending Stanford in the fall as a Gates Scholar. I am here because I'm doing an internship with IB Equity along with UCLA, and our research here is to work and see what the community wants, especially with lithium, and how we can address the tax revenue with lithium to address our community issues. While I understand this is the valley issue, there are some things that I do want to highlight. First, we would like to get, of course, all the council to participate in our survey, and those who here in the city who are attending city community members to also participate in our survey, as we have over 100 responses already. Second, We hope you could use this as a way to fund or kind of plan future projects. However, one thing that we did see, and it is really disappointing, is we got responses from the survey, and this has to do with only Imperial County, and then in the survey, it talked about distrust. And one of our themes that we have is distrust and skepticism. This distrust that we found stems, and most of them stem from Calexico. A lot of the respondents said, I don't trust the Calexico City Council to use any of the funds. We're talking about Imperial County, we're talking about this whole entire project. However, why is Calexico City Council on our survey? Of course, we hope you use that information, but we also know that once it gets published, you're gonna find out that people are wanting the same thing: infrastructure, business help. They truly want you to invest back into those people, and of course, we'll be able to email you, and we'll get you all the information you need. We'll be passing out the surveys right now, and before Rosie just rolls her eyes again, Daniela Flores will be helping me out right now, and we'll be able to, if you need any help with administering the survey, we're here to help you, and please listen to what the community is saying, because what the community is saying is that Calexico is not trustworthy and probably doesn't deserve a spot sometimes. That's what we're seeing. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Norma Gerardo.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members and members of the public. Just wanted to provide some quick information on the pool program, the summer pool program. We opened the pool on June 29th, and so far it's been 15 days we've been open, and so far we've had 1,600 people showing up at the pool in 15 days. We're very excited also to let you guys know that we opened our swimming classes registration on Monday, and all 240 slots got full on Monday, the same day we open our registrations. Our classes start on Tuesday of next week. And this year we opened some spaces for adults, and let me tell you, out of the 240 spaces, 40 were for adults. They're all full as well. So that tells us, and I believe that we're the only ones in the whole Imperial County that are offering free swimming classes to adults. So this is kudos to us. Just a quick report. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I can entertain them. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Daniela Flores.
Hi, good evening, community members and members of this council chair. I am here to talk a little bit about some topics that we've already discussed in previous meetings. I'm really here also, for the record, Daniela Flores. I'm a community organizer and advocate for Imperial Valley Equity and Justice Coalition as a volunteer. I was also a previous planning commissioner. So yeah, I'm here to talk about the American Rescue Plan Act, COVID-19 relief funds. These funds keep getting mentioned. I've had one-on-one conversations with most of you, those that are willing to meet with me. Just here to ask if it could be, so even though I get updates, bless you, I get updates from you in behind closed doors, right? You've been very responsive, and that's really Councilmember Ureña, Romo, and Mayor Moreno. I know we've already had discussions about it, but I want to request formally that there is, at every meeting, there is a line item for ARPA update. So as we have learned behind these closed door meetings, is that there's a lot of challenges to implementing the funds. And so we understand, and at the same time, with prices going up, with the heat that kills members of our community, we have to really put that up in the priority. And I know there's a lot of things to do, but this is priority. We were at 120 degrees yesterday, and it's just going to continue to be at that, for the next few weeks. And so, we want cooling centers on there. We want to make sure that there's some water stations for folks to drink water. And so, yeah, I'm requesting a formal report. It can be brief, but it should have some details as to what the current challenges are. And, it's not to micromanage, but frankly, there's all this discussion about ARPA and suggestions for what to do with them. And I agree. We should be able to allow the public to hear about your plans for implementation. And be able to kind of get those updates. What are those challenges? As you know, I work as a volunteer for a community-based organization, and we again have been a partner to the city and are eager to help you get that input in, and are eager to kind of understand how you can get that essential bonus pay program out as soon as possible. People are really needing that money, and they did essential work. They continue to do essential work as we speak today. 1 out of almost every 2 people that get tested for COVID are testing positive. So really, we should all be wearing masks here today. So that's that comment. The second comment is regarding the lithium survey that has been passed out. This survey has been online, so I would really encourage every single person that received the survey to complete it while you're here in the meeting, and we'll be collecting them. If you see either myself or Angel, you can just hand it to us, and we'd love to hear what you think should be spent, how you think if lithium is produced in the valley, if that promise is, it flourishes and it actually yields the amount of money that's being estimated, then the county will be able to do something with that. And we want to hear, what do you want? How do you want to improve your community with those funds, so that we can really use your information, your perspective, elevate that to government officials and to the state. So with that, I look forward to any concerns that you have of having that monthly or bi-weekly report, and I look forward to hopefully seeing that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mael Arbizu.
Good afternoon, Council. Good afternoon,
Good
community. I'm just here to talk about the ARPA funds, how, we've been hearing a lot. We have to get these things going. The businesses are here. We've had signatures from businesses that are for the rehabilitation of downtown, and I think 90% of the city probably agrees on the need of downtown rehabilitation. There's cooling centers like Daniela was mentioning. So it's just a matter of doing it porque el calor todavía sigue. So, and most of us, I think we might have the privilege to have AC in our homes, but those that live outside and spend those 100-degree nights outside sleeping, it's brutal. It kills your neurons, literally. So, I suggest that we help the community. Mexicali is getting people dying from heat exhaustion every single day, and I'm pretty sure Calexico has had a few, but I still haven't heard of any. But I do ask you all to get these things moving, porque los ARPA funds ya se pueden hacer, and Daniela was also stating, COVID is coming back. It's new year, new academic year as well, so we have to prep for the worst, sadly. Yeah. Same with Parks and Rec. I know Parks and Rec, they've done a lot this whole summer, and I do hope that the budget that is coming up today is a little bit supportive of Parks and Rec, porque Parks and Rec is basically one of the few gems that Calexico still has, right? No tiene skate park, pero pues it's fine. And with the Cordova Park, the bi-national soccer league that's coming up in the next couple of months, this should be in the news, But sadly, we need a lot of support from all sides to be doing this. So the ARPA funds, the bathrooms, that's a huge thing that are still, we act like bathrooms aren't even necessary in the city, when in fact they are. We can't be relying on businesses to be giving their bathroom to everyone. and I've seen too many businesses being like, no, you can't use bathrooms anymore porque pues les afecta a ellos también, you know? So I ask of you to think about the human right of clean hygiene, even if you're homeless or not. Like, I think everyone should be able to use the restroom when they're out in public of Calexico. Que sí? And water stations, water fountains, water stations, algo, por favor. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving up to the city manager report. But you on number 7. You want to speak now or you want to wait for 7?
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I'll do it now.
You want to wait? Or you want to speak now? Now? Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to get the other ones too. I got you. Yeah.
Maria Hurtado, Calexico downtown business owner for the last 35 years, and I'm also a business consultant. And I came here today to put in my information and 2 cents worth into this conversation where we're at right now about what's going on right now in our community with the homelessness problem, with the transients, the squatters. This morning, I was very blessed to be supported by our Calexico Police Department that assisted me with one of my customers who has passed on and owns the last commercial property that you saw burned in downtown last week. I was hired shortly before that occurred, hoping that that wouldn't occur, because we already knew, and I consistently pass by there every day. Many of you know that I take a lot of videos of downtown, because I have worked there since I was 21 years old in the business that was a family business with my mother. Many of you know who my mom was, and I'm an immigration consultant, so I do a lot of work for our immigrant community, and I also am a tax preparer, so I have a lot of contact with our community, and of different types, all levels, all ages, and all income abilities. This morning, I got a call from the people that are helping me with regard to the 2 properties, because this individual owned 2 properties. The one that burned last week, we couldn't do anything about it, but we still have another residential property that we were very worried about, because the neighbors, it's actually in a very nice little area there, older part of Calexico, but the properties are really nice kept and refurbished, and it's just a really nice little area. And this home had approximately 15 homeless people in there every night. It was scary, and it was very difficult to accept that within this community we would have that many in one location. That is dangerous. That is not acceptable in a community like ours. We're too small for this. The last conversation that I had with our organizer who feeds them, there's a large group that feeds, she said we have about 100 in the city of Calexico, and many of them are in downtown, and unfortunately is beyond our control right now. But I do want to thank Chief Serrano, because he gave me some advice that I think that all of us business owners should take, which means a lot. And obviously the conversation we had this morning was about collaborating with our police department, because the mayorship doesn't answer the phone. This gentleman is my friend, and I have taken pictures of the homelessness right in front of my office asking for help, and he does not answer. I can show you my phone, and I just don't understand why you don't answer, right? But, you know, we talk about how we're going to support the idea, the Plan B that's going on right now for ARPA. But I think we all have to realize that it's time to talk reality here. But ARPA, I believe, after being in our downtown for 35 years, to know it's the most disgusting it's ever been. It is full of urine and feces from the transients that come and visit our downtown. My staff, I pay $3,000 a month rent, if you guys all want to know how much that is. It's $1 a square foot. I have a large office, which actually ended up being empty because of COVID. But I'm a downtown business owner, and I've kind of had it. Just like Robert said, I think I need to start looking elsewhere. And so I believe that if ARPA is going to do anything for us, which I understand that ARPA is COVID related, I understand that a lot of cities, in order to understand what their COVID levels are, they study the sewerage of where people, you know, let go of their daily release. And so the sewage indicates what COVID levels your city has. So in our city, we have it on our streets. I was 21 years old when we started. The streets we could walk downtown right now, some of you have seen, there's people out there that are selling out in the streets, taking up our customers' slots for parking to sell fruit and vegetables and mayonnaise. So it's unhealthy, and I think that that any of you that think that supporting more homelessness in our downtown is correct, you need to understand who your priorities are right now. And I don't believe that the transients right now and the people who have damaged millions of dollars of our downtown existence needs to be number two. What if you maybe think, Mr. Mayor, to come and visit the downtown and come and see for yourself? You know, I've invited you a lot. All I need you to do is listen, but you're too busy. And honestly, you were my friend, you know, and I really don't understand why you feel that it's important to ignore when we're calling you. But I do want to thank the police department because you were awesome. And I want to tell all of you that what we did tell the gentleman that was arrested today, because the 14 left
Marisa.
on their own, just a second.
You
The
have-
14 left on their own.
Marisa,
The last guy
Marisa, you have
didn't
two items.
have.
Are you going to talk in both of them?
Yeah.
So I can count
No.
you. No?
The last gentleman needed immigration services. He didn't have a green card, and that happens a lot to your homeless. As an immigration consultant, I have already helped a lot of the homeless to help them with their immigration services for free. So if you guys find any of those, bring them over, and I'll help them and get them a home. Because as far as squatting like that, I don't think any of us are going to be tolerating that anymore. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gilberto Manzanares.
Buenas tardes, Gilberto
Buenas
Manzanares. Damn, a lot of comments on ARPA. When we were fighting for Plan B, it was just us. That was us. I see a lot of comments on downtown, and I agree with all of them. As you know, I've been in close contact with the downtown community. Maybe some of you guys. It's my time. Pero as you know, I did a petition recently for 50 downtown business, ¿verdad? If you weren't there, a lot of business owners weren't there at the office when I walked in. Ahí está. El punto es de que in that plan son 3 millones para downtown, which originally the city didn't want to put anything in downtown. Nomás 750,000. But because of our advocacy, we did surveys y todo, and now it's 3 million. So don't try to discredit us like that. We've tried to allocate money to downtown. Si no fuera por the advocacy that we did, it would have been 750K, que es nada. Plantas, lo que sea, ¿verdad? Now it's 3 million because of the community effort that we pulled together. We mentioned problem that homelessness, and it's true. I spoke with like many business owners in downtown, and it is a problem. Of course it's a problem. But we also don't want to invest in it. So entonces, ¿cómo vamos a salvar el problema? What are we going to do? Incarcerate them all? Put them away somehow? That's very illegal, no? It's kind of like what totalitarian governments do. So, ¿cómo vamos a querer hacer safe el downtown? You can invest 30 million, 50 million. But if you don't invest anything in the homeless problem, those two problems are tied together. Tied together. No puede ser invest and then not in homelessness, porque luego, pues, well, what is it going to look like 10 years from now? ¿Verdad? I recently posted a video online, I don't know if you guys seen it, the difference in the 3rd Street only from 10 years ago. Y the way it looks now, pues nobody wants to invest. Who would want to invest in a downtown que está quemado, that está todo lleno de fecal matter y todo, ¿verdad? But we also don't want to invest in a homeless solution, ¿verdad? We need to give them las necesidades básicas. I know that in the plan there's a sanction, but we haven't even started on that. And just before coming here, I got out of work, fui a imprimir. I don't want to reveal the business owner, but I spoke with him. Igual me dijo that we need to fix the homeless problem. Pónganlos donde sea, denles the basic necessities, pónganlos donde sea, because if not, ¿dónde van a estar? En el downtown. Porque ahí tienen acceso a what we call restrooms, ¿no? Que son nuestras calles y callejones. Ahí tienen acceso a agua. So yeah, those problems, they are tied together. So no nomás podemos invertir 50 millones and then ignore completely the homeless, porque luego we're not really solving the problem. ¿Verdad? Thank you so much.
Andres Hernandez.
Hello, can you hear me clearly? Yes, my name is Andres Hernandez. Part of a brown bag coalition here to represent. And after hearing many comments and actually learning, and understanding more of the concerns that the business owners own, I have come to the conclusion, and after talking with the homeless too, the homeless are leaderless. They have many friends around there. They know each other, but they do not hang around to certain people. They call each other, and they know the loquitos, the malos, the people out there amongst the homeless themselves that they will not distinguish or hang out with. There are many of those people who will more than likely be arrested and continue to devastate the downtown and their own homeless population. If the homeless themselves have problems amongst the worst, that means it's gone all the way from the top to the bottom, and it's just a representative of what we have in the community, and that's pure lawlessness, violence, and disgrace and disrespect for our common man. And if that's in the homeless, if that's between friends, and it must be between the city council and the political politicians we see today, maybe amongst the people themselves, and that's why we're here trying to represent our own factions, our own people, and to make sure that we come to the solid conclusion and the single goal that we need to take care of business. And business, it has been slowed by a bureaucracy that's too embroiled in its political controversies and its election cycle to get through any sort of legal and economical financial impact that we would like to see for the next 30, 40 years. But given what I see with the people on these streets and when I talk to them, they have no leader. They have no reason other than to be in the street, scavenge for food, talk to their people, make sure the worst of their drug addicts don't go crazy and have a mental episode and lead to less and less money that business owners can spend on their actual needs, their supplies, their inventory, their advertising to attract the businesses, rather than spend it trying to fix up the problems that the homeless have caused around their area. The best we can do is, again, have, as many said, be that outlet, understand, and be front and center to be criticized for why these homeless are acting out, even though we try to give them the resources. I myself will go out there, but every day, even if it's the heat. And why have I been out there? Because I like them. They're crazy. I like them because they're like us. They need to understand that they need to become part of normal society, and they need to be appreciated again. They have no life. And many of us have a life, and we just need to accept the reality of what we're going to, and we're going to fix it up. I don't know what's the end state, but the end state better be a financial and economic upsoar. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are remaining of three public speaking on item number 7 and item number 6. So we'll get to those when we get to the items. And then there was,
¿Hay alguien más en el público que quisiera comentar? Hubo un grupo de señoras que quería comentar, me dijeron. ¿Sí?
Sí.
Adelante.
Pasa.
Nomás diga su nombre, por favor.
Sí.
Sí, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Delia Cervantes. Estoy aquí representando a mis compañeras, las seniors de Calexico. Esperamos el apoyo del concilio para que nos apoyen con los programas que necesitamos de ejercicios para nuestra salud y nuestro bienestar. Y estamos aquí reunidas este grupo porque esperamos el apoyo de ustedes, si nos pudieran apoyar en eso. Es todo. Gracias.
Gracias, señora.
is Rangel. I was born in Brawley, raised in Calexico. I'm going to say it in English because it's my native language. And I love that everybody's here from the business community because me, when I was younger, we didn't always have a car. So a lot of the stores that I would go to were downtown. I'd go to Garland, Salwick's, all those stores downtown. I want to say I was about maybe 12, 13, where I'd walk from Rockwood down to 2nd Street. And yes, there's always been some homelessness in the city of Calexico. The majority of the time, I think we knew who they were. There was a couple of them that we knew by name and so forth. My husband had me walk downtown, and it was pretty disgusting because there were needles and urine, and I have 3 children. I don't want my children walking downtown. And I want to keep my money here in Calexico. I don't like having to drive out of town to take my children shopping, but I don't feel comfortable with the homelessness that's down there because I don't know what their intentions are. I don't feel comfortable taking my children down there. So I really do hope that you guys support the community, the business community, and give them the funding that they need. Because when I went online and I was looking at the Plan B, there's a lot of things on there that I read that were very geared toward the business community, but then when I see that $3 million is going to be for a wraparound homeless rehabilitation services, I want to know as a community member more clarification on that, because if there's going to be more homeless people populated in that area, I don't want my children there. And unfortunately, that affects our business community. So please just keep that in mind when you guys are thinking of your ARPA funds. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else before we move on? You? Okay.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes.
Buenas
Can you hear
tardes.
me? Yeah. I just want to speak up and make a comment because I'm hearing a lot of controversy. There's people, I understand you all as business owners are concerned for your business, for your money. I understand you're concerned for your family, for your kids. But just to give a little bit more explanation on how rehabilitation services actually help us and help reduce the homeless population, it's because you help them reintegrate them into society, into finding jobs, into getting off of those addictions. If you're thinking of them as disposable things, as an obstacle for you, as trash, as a danger, you're dehumanizing them. And I just want to remind you all that in Calexico, especially because of the economy we live in, we're almost all like a paycheck away from being homeless. The way the economy is going right now, your children may be at risk of being homeless, and substance use is just a secondary thing to homelessness. If you can, have a little compassion, research more, educate yourself on how rehabilitation services are useful for the rehabilitation of downtown itself and the economy, you might be able to see why those $3 million are actually very helpful. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Giselle, did you feel one of these? Just for the record, thank you.
Sorry, I saw you guys were busy. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. My name is Jace Mendoza. I'm a community member here in Calexico, and I just kind of wanted to circle back on some of the comments that were made in regards to focusing on the business community. I personally would really hope that council would reconsider some of the allocations that you guys have currently for ARPA. I know that we're all talking about beautification, and it is needed. Parks, it is needed. My concern is placing that money into those projects right now may not be the smartest thing. Calexico needs to rebuild their business community, maybe refocusing those funds on figuring out what the needs of the business community really are. If we can set a business infrastructure in Calexico, can help start generating revenue, sales tax, business licenses, and then we'll have the capacity to be able to do those things. My other concern is, if you do that, does the city have the ability to maintain the beautification, trees, parks? I remember being a part of Little League and constantly coming in to sit at the city manager's office once a month and having to personally walk in to get a meeting and show pictures. Why isn't the trash being picked up? Those things haven't changed. So refocusing those funds, a lot of those funds, if you personally ask me, I can depict everything that I would change. But I do hope and really, really hope that council sits down, thinks about it, and starts thinking about running the city like a business so that we can bring businesses back in, and then we can turn around and say, let's make it all pretty. So if you guys can focus on that, that would mean the world to me, because like the young lady that spoke earlier, it's devastating walking downtown. So let's try to put a plan together to make a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is George Rashid.
Hello, everybody. The reason I'm up here is to share some personal experience from me. I think the idea of having a homeless rehabilitation, I think it's a great idea. But the secret is the location. That's the most important thing. From personal experience, I rented out a rehabilitation called Spread the Love charity in El Centro. The city authorized them the permit. They were on State Street. They came on Main, on my place. Within a year, the city ran them out, revoked their permit, and they had to leave Brawley because of the mess that the homeless people left. It's very, very important to have a good center. I think if we're working in conjunction with law enforcement and mental health, we have two big places here that's rented out for mental health. If we work with them, with law enforcement, to be able to grab them and evaluate them and do whatever treatment that they need. But to put them in the downtown area or in another area, it's just going to create a lot of havoc, and it's going to get worse. So it already happened in El Centro. If you don't believe me, you can speak to Patsy over there and some of the other redevelopment people. They'll tell you the problems that they had with Spread the Love. So just to let you know, okay? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ángel de Dios.
All right, hello. I'm up here again just because since we're talking about the unhoused community, I wanted to put not just my 2 cents, but also give you a little background of what I know about this community. I co-founded Familia del Valle. We distribute food to the unhoused, we distribute clothes to the unhoused, and we also find ways to get them out the streets by providing services, by connecting them. For example, we connected someone to IBC so that they could pursue an education. And I could completely understand, and I validate every emotion that the business owners have. It is pretty hard out here, especially when you go downtown, and we even, Gilberto showed us a video of how downtown is. It is pretty hard, and especially, looking at businesses, I grew up here all my life, I see how many businesses close down. I see the effect. However, dehumanizing the unhoused population, it's not going to cut it. And not just because you're still going to have the issue. The unhoused population, the reason why they're unhoused is an effect. It's called the effect. Why? Because of the cause. What is the cause? The cause is because they don't have enough resources. They didn't grow up in a very stable income. They're immigrants, and there's many reasons, right? But homelessness is an effect. It's not the cause. So many here are talking about, working with the police and being able to, I don't want to say these words, kick out the unhoused out of downtown. It's not going to work because that's the effect. The only reason why I'm really confident about how I am speaking is because not only sociological studies, psychological studies have proven that unhoused and the state of being homeless is just an effect. You, by making sure that the police take it all out, that is just treating the effect. And I want business owners to be able to realize that they're just kind of being affected by the effect. And that effect comes down to years of being oppressed and years of other systemic issues. So for us to realize that the unhoused population, they're humans too. I talk to them every other Saturday, and I'd be able to sit down with a conversation with them. They want to go to IBC. They want to pursue an education. They didn't choose the life. There were so many issues, and I know many of us are here fortunate enough to even be speaking here. We have the privilege out here, and I know we're losing that privilege slowly because we don't get the money. My family works they're blue-collar workers, so I comprehend how businesses can be hit. I understand. I grew up with that all my life, and the insecurity, especially growing up in the 2008 recession. I understand that. So I want everyone to realize, when you talk about the unhoused issue, that is an effect. The only reason why I keep saying this is because there's this stigma against these people, and maybe you've seen them. They're in drugs, or maybe they are terrorizing, but that isn't because they want to. That is the effect of what happened, because I don't want to say the system failed them, but the system failed them. And that is because they don't get enough resources, they don't address their mental health issues, and that is why the rehabilitation center is probably a great thing. And of course, the location can be discussed later on, because we also have to keep in mind, these folks don't have a home. They can't even vote, they don't have the access to voting because they don't have an address. So being able to be near shops, they could also be your future, folks who buy off your shop. They could also be the ones who kind of get themselves back on their feet by going to your clothing store, to your food store. Giving the access, and especially here in Calexico, where it's really hard to go to Walmart because it's across town, an unhoused person is not going to be able to do that. Someone who's barely getting on their feet is not going to be able to do that and walk there. Taxi, everyone knows it's going up in numbers, and Ubers aren't as safe anymore. So what do you think they're going to go? They're going to go probably downtown, where it's the cheapest option. It's going to be a really good revenue for you. But of course, you're just dehumanizing, because I understand the anger that it's caused by them terrorizing, or not necessarily terrorizing, more so them being in front of businesses and scaring off customers, which is just a stigma.
Can you wrap it up?
Yes.
Thank you.
And just again, address the effect, because if you don't address the effect, you're never going to get the stem of the issue. The stem of the issue is that they're probably still going to be on the streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the city manager's report.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? My name is Esperanza Colby. I'm the new city manager. First of all, let me share with you that I met with the California Department of Housing and Community Development regarding grant programs findings dated since 2014. It has not been resolved, and that prevents the city for any grant programs and any housing programs. Rent assistance, subsistence payments, utilities, housing programs are not available to this city until those issues are being resolved. And so yes, this is my second week, and I had to say priority so that we can bring money to this city. And today, these records are public. You can look into the records to see how many people have never resolved those issues. And if you think that I'm sitting at my desk not doing anything, you're wrong. I invite you to come and help me. Number two, I had several meetings with Cali PA and the State Water Resources Control Board regarding the new river and the funding, the gap funding that we have in order to proceed with the project. We have at least 6 meetings since last week trying to resolve the issue. And so those have been my priorities. In addition to that, I have been in some of the commissioners meeting, and I have found policies and procedures not followed, and I had to stop meetings because they were not proper meetings. And so I'm the kind of person that understands protocols and policies, and I have the attorneys on my side so that I can consult that I'm doing the right thing, and I will do the right thing. And I also have been meeting with the department heads, some of them, to discuss the pending items that they have with their department so they can become functional. Lastly, I have at least 8 meetings with different developers. They have projects on hold because they have issues in the permitting process and impact fees and all of the other items that needs to be resolved. The protocols were not followed, and I'm not here to override those protocols because that's not I'm not authorized to do that. It's only to the city council that they can approve or disapprove those protocols that were done wrong. So I want to make sure that everybody understands I'm trying to do my best. And if someone wants to come to my office and see me every day, you will find out that I'm usually here from 8 to 9 o'clock at night. So if you feel that I'm sitting over here not attending your business, it's wrong. Also, I'm a true believer of businesses because without your businesses, we're not going to get additional revenue, and this city will continue to be broke. So please give me an opportunity to show you that we can fix the city, but we can only fix the city all together, not fighting against each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is the city council comments and reports of meetings attended. I'll start with thanking Chief Avila. Your crew did an outstanding job just last week when you fought the fire and helping our brothers and sisters across the fence there with the Mexicali Fire Department. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Outstanding job. I'm also in communication with the mayor's office in Mexicali. So your crew, your department, as well as their department, we can recognize all of you for the efforts on that day. And this just shows the true leadership you've done for us in Calexico. I'm really proud of you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go to ladies first. Thank you. Ms. Romo? No comment? Mr. Garcia?
Thank you. I attended various commission meetings, and I was witness to some of the comments, or actions that the city manager alluded to, and I think that's important that we follow processes, because without processes, everything falls apart. I mean, this is not the time to just waive or overlook the overpass. So I was happy to see that commissions are meeting, but then also I think a more encouraging sign was that the procedures are in place, and if they're not, we always find a way to find a solution, or at least make sure that those individuals that are volunteering to provide suggestions to this council, that they're properly trained, that they're properly given the facts to make the recommendations. So I thank you for that. I thank you for that leadership in making sure that we'll stay on track and we stay within the law also. So, and then I also attended that event that took place on the funding presentation from Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia and also Senator Hueso. So that was very encouraging too. So, and thank you for the report also. That was very comprehensive. That's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Duraña?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Voy a hacer mi comentario bilingüe con el propósito de que estamos implementando la traducción de nuevo, ojalá dentro de las próximas juntas. So just bear with me, I will make my comment bilingual and I'll try to address a lot of the points that were brought up specifically on ARPA. The gentleman from Garland's, what was your last name? Ronich. Nice to meet you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with the allocation of the $3 million towards downtown. Ms. Rangel and other people did bring up, and I just want to make it very, very clear what those $3 million, at least right now, are for. The $3 million are not for beautification. I am not a fan of beautification first. They're also not a purely homeless allocation. If anything, that allocation is made for functional beautification, for tools that are there to keep it clean and keep it orderly. We're talking about self-sanitizing restrooms, self-sanitizing showers. We're talking about native trees that are low maintenance and things of that nature. Habían traído a la mesa ciertos miembros de la comunidad unas preguntas, me voy a quitar esto un poquito, unas preguntas de los $3 millones que están en la partida para el centro de Calexico. Y quiero clarificar muy específicamente para qué es ese dinero. Ese dinero no es para embellecimiento, ese dinero no es exclusivamente para las gentes sin hogar, aunque toca las gentes sin hogar en cierta manera. Yo no soy un partidario de embellecimiento primero, al contrario, me gusta la funcionalidad que mantiene una área embellecida. Estamos hablando de baños públicos que se limpian solos, showers donde se puede bañar la gente que también se pueden limpiar solos, sombras de plantas nativas que no se ocupan de tanta labor mantener y que no hacen tanto cochinero y proveen sombras para las personas. Otras amenidades que van a trabajar con los proyectos de tránsito para que la gente pueda ingresar al centro y quedarse ahí por horas sin tener que irse porque no hay un baño o algo por el estilo. We're working to get amenities in there, or the vision is to get amenities in there that will work with transit to keep people in downtown longer, make it easier for people to access downtown, and for them to be able to stay there. We're talking about outdoor lounge seating, shades, that will increase the probability of sales for downtown. Now, going into a little bit more specifics on where we're at with the whole process. So the reason I'm making this bilingual is because under City Manager Figueroa's leadership months ago, we did have a brief period where Ms. Luna, the executive assistant that is in front of me right now, would record the already existing Spanish translations, would record them and make them accessible to the public. Somewhere along the road, that was lost. We're still paying for that translation, but it's not being recorded and put out there. So I'm making my comment bilingual now, so that in the next couple of meetings we can come back to that system. I can speak English and have a Spanish copy so that everybody understands what I'm saying. Hace meses, cuando estaba aquí el administrador Figueroa, hubo un periodo muy breve en que sí se estaban grabando las traducciones en español. La señora Luna, que es la asistente ejecutiva de la administradora, grababa esas traducciones que nosotros pagamos y las hacía disponibles al público. Y ojalá dentro de los próximos cuantas juntas podamos restablecer ese programa para poder yo solamente hablar inglés y tener una versión en español disponible para todos los hispanohablantes. Unos cuantos puntitos de negocio. We talked about the budget. I'm very impressed with the calculations, the processes, the procedures that the city manager is pursuing with speed to finalize with all the department heads so we can have the final budget up here within the next couple of meetings. Estoy muy impresionado con la velocidad y los procedimientos, la dedicación a los procedimientos que tiene la señora Esperanza para finalizar lo que es el presupuesto de este año en Calexico. Por la primera vez en años de la medida ASHE, ya se aprobó una transferencia, una inyección de $100,000 por la primera vez en años de la medida H directamente a los programas de recreación de la ciudad de Calexico. Y eso incluye, por supuesto, los apoyos para los ciudadanos mayores que han hablado aquí muchas veces. For the first time in years, we've allocated an injection of $100,000 on top of the ARPA funds for the pool from Measure H at the behest of the Measure H committee with full transparency to the Calexico Recreation Department. We didn't use it for the first time in years to patch budget holes. I'm very happy about that, but there is still a long way to go to have a robust recreation and parks program. ARPA. Many times I've talked very recently about the challenges that this city has had in spending the ARPA funds in the way that it was proposed. I want to announce that there will likely be some modifications without changing the intention or the ultimate allocations of the funds that were approved in Plan B that will allow us to more flexibility operationally to move these allocations in quicker and more complete forms. When those plans are made in the next couple of meetings, as certain calculations are being made right now, they will be made public and relatively soon per discussion with the city manager. ARPA. Muchas veces he hablado del aprieto de labor, que no tenemos suficientes empleados para mover esos fondos que están parqueados ahí de $7 millones de ARPA en la manera que queremos gastárnoslos. Van a haber ciertas modificaciones que se van a hacer en cómo se va a gastar ese dinero sin cambiar el destino final de esos fondos. Estas modificaciones nos van a dar más flexibilidad en nuestras operaciones para que esos gastos se realicen en manera más rápida y más completa. Cuando esos planes ya se finalicen, ya se terminen los cálculos que la señora Esperanza está trabajando con diligencia, se van a hacer públicos y los vamos a discutir aquí en Cabildo antes de hacer la última aprobación con un plan completo para ya gastar ese dinero. Nomás les comento, all right, I'll comment that one major concern that I had outside of staffing is something going on with the bidding process of the city, something going on with the procurement process and how we get services and products, how we buy things as a city. We had a very controversial purchase of 4 police vehicles from the impact fees, totaling $210,000. There were 2 things that were very concerning about that purchase. Number one, that it was a complete oversight by the whole city system, including the finance office, the past city manager, in which we literally spent funds from a fund that did not allow that purchase, and nobody saw that. And then secondly, I still can't find a second bid. So there's problems internally that Ms. Esperanza is diligently trying to fix with procedures, with better procedures, to safeguard and make sure that we are making the most transparent purchases possible. Una de las otra de las grandes preocupaciones que tenía con el ARPA, que salió en un ejemplo que compramos 4 vehículos de la policía, eran $210,000 para comprar 4 vehículos de la policía. Se hicieron 2 errores. El primero es que tanto el Departamento de Finanzas como el ex administrador Figueroa y todo el cabildo, todo el sistema de la ciudad, no notamos que gastamos dinero de un fondo que no nos dejaba gastar para esos vehículos, número 1. Y número 2, cuando yo pedí documentos que me dijeran, pues, a ver, déjame ver cuáles fueron los negocios que emitieron una solicitud para ese servicio, todavía hasta esta fecha no me han proveído esos documentos con transparencia. Entonces hay ciertos procedimientos internos que se tienen que rectificar, que la señora Esperanza está trabajando en los procedimientos para que cuando nos gastemos esos 7 millones de ARPA tengamos toda la certeza que se haga de la manera más transparente y evitemos los problemas y las corrupciones que han estado aquí desde años. Y la última, the last one is CDBG funds. City Manager Esperanza talked about the frozen funds that are in public record. I think we've gone through at least 5 city managers that have been contacted by the state where we have at least $8 million of funds, plus other programs, including business grant programs that are frozen to the city of Calexico that we cannot use due to mismanagement of those programs dating back all the way to 2014. So from 2014 up until the present day, nobody has done anything to unfreeze those programs. Ms. Esperanza is developing a plan to unfreeze those funds as soon as possible. It is not an easy process. It is not a pretty process, but for the first time in, I would say 8 years now, 9 years, we're finally getting to it with her expertise. Lamentablemente, una de las cosas que trajo la señora Esperanza a la mesa es lo que se llama los CDBG funds. Son unos fondos del Estado de vivienda que no solamente son un fondo, pero son varios programas. Uno de los fondos más grandes de ahí tiene $8 millones de nuestra ciudad. No los podemos usar por el mal manejo que ha tenido esta ciudad desde el 2014 de esos fondos. Están completamente restringidos. Pero por primera vez en 8 o 9 años tenemos una administradora que está haciendo algo para liberar esos fondos. Y dentro de esos fondos está ahí congelado la ayuda que ocupamos para los negocios. Es una situación muy lamentable, casi me hace llorar, pero ahí vamos y esperamos que esté listo lo más pronto posible. And with that, I'm going to defer the points I had on transportation. I'm going to defer them. I'm going to defer them to the next meeting just so that the translation is available. Tenía un reporte de transportación entero, lo voy a hacer la próxima junta para que ya esté la traducción en lugar. Yes, Mr. Peroni.
Mr. Ureña, I want to thank the City Council for allocating funds, your ARPA funds. Great idea. You know, I would like you to consider also all the business people. You have Ronit, you have Belinda over there, Maritza, you have Mr. Holloway, Mr. Rashid left, or the Montes family also, and the Risings, Louis Vuitton, and how to distribute that
Yes.
money. Because I can tell you this,
Mhm.
these people work day in, day out. They pay employees. They keep our economy going. So it's
Let me just
collaboration.
let me
That's what I'd like to see.
let me just answer
Sure.
so we can get to the bottom line, because I know we still have to get to Romo. Long story short, what is being proposed here, the modifications they're going to allow us more flexibility. I'll give you a very specific example. You know, all of the businesses on 98 that are affected by that horrible construction.
yes.
Tropicana is one of them.
Unfortunate,
A
yes.
horrible situation. The state is not helping us. 4 months ago, I asked the interim city manager, and for many staffing reasons, it was not done. I told them to please get Tropicana a street vending permit downtown, right, to at least alleviate them. That's being done as of today. But when we put this plan forward, there's going to be some more flexibility in the timeline, where, for example, if I know that business is going to need $5,000 in investment to get up to code to be able to sell on the street while they fix the street, we will have that flexibility to help businesses at an individual and at a general level. So I can assure you 100%, once that new plan comes in, we will be having these conversations, and I'm just inviting everyone to be
I
here.
really encourage you to look for these people.
Absolutely.
They've been pioneers. They're pillars of our community, and they've invested all their money here. So consider them with those ARPA funds. And I volunteer myself in any way I can help. I'm in the bid, so I'm here to help our business people. So consider them as you develop your plan. Collaborations, we can do a lot with that. Thank you.
Me parece bien.
you.
Hecho. Gracias.
Okay.
And thank you, everybody.
Go ahead, Mr. Gornick.
One last brief comment.
Yes?
Like any business, como cualquier negocio,
Probably the mic so we can get it on record.
como cualquier negocio,
Sí.
nosotros sabemos exactamente de dónde son nuestros clientes.
Sí.
El 98% son de Mexicali. Quisiera ver que nuestros clientes en downtown
Sí.
fueran ustedes, residentes de Calexico. Pero como la muchacha que ya se fue lo dijo,
treated humanly, humanely, with compassion. And you can't do it with tents. You can't turn downtown Calexico into Skid Row. You can't turn downtown into, I would rather, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have a master's degree in economics.
Bachelor's.
Bachelor's.
Yes.
You study economics, you understand the economics. I would rather build a very good facility for the homeless people with tax revenues from this city, because the ARPA funds
So
are
wait,
one shot. They're one shot.
let me just clarify right there before we get into.
How are you going to maintain that?
Let me tell you, and just so we can clarify right here, and I know where you're coming from. The ARPA funds will not be used for that facility. If anything, the CDBG funds that Ms. Scolio is trying to unfreeze, that would be more appropriate for a center like that, an actual building, as opposed to, yes, of course. And that in itself is a challenge. So there's going to be a whole strategy on homelessness, whereas that $3 million is mostly for businesses. So we'll get to the specifics in that conversation, but making it into Skid Row is not on the table right now.
We want tax revenues for the city.
Sure,
So
of course.
that we can provide services.
Yes, understood. I think we're Mr. Yeah, I think we.
It's okay, no, we're moving on. Yeah.
We might, we'll
All
come,
right.
we'll back.
Yeah, we'll be back, we'll be back, we'll be back.
If,
Okay, 30 seconds, 30 seconds.
It's not that I'm against helping the homeless. Like the gentleman just said, I have family who's homeless, but he's right. If you guys want to find grants, and I know I went to a meeting in the beginning of last year where you guys were all talking and I suggested grants and so forth, and I think you remember that, Mr. Ureña. Not that I'm against it, but if you're gonna do it, please don't do it like you had it over there next to the border wall. That was not safe for them, that's not healthy for them. I want these, and just so I can be clear, I have a degree in journalism, emphasis in media studies, minor in Spanish, social science, so people here who are trying to
Okay, 30 seconds are up, thank you.
I'm educated.
Noted, thank you, thank you very much.
Noted. Thank you.
All right, we're done. Next item is the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council, Calexico Community Development Agency, successor agency, or Calexico Financial Authority, and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the council.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve, second? Second by Ms. Bromo. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Motion carried 5-0. No motion, no items pulled. Okay, we got to discussion and potential action items. There is, before we get into that, there is some public comments on item number 6 and item number 7. We have Daniela Flores on number 6.
I do have something to say. I'm going to direct this to the attorney. Okay, on item 6, I was the one. I didn't ask mayor rotation policy options. That wasn't what I asked for. I asked to be added on the agenda discussion and the action item with a clear legal interpretation and writing on resolutions number 211-121 and number 2012-39 Exhibit 1. Council annual rotation policy, mayor and pro tem positions annually at the first regular meeting in July, which that wasn't done. Okay? Somebody questioned me that why did I vote for Mr. Ureña, that I gave him my vote. You know why? Because it was his term to be pro tem. It's not his term to be mayor, okay? And that's what I wanted. I wanted an explanation. I mean, it could be any of us going back to mayor, Bromo or Mr. Ureña, or if they wanted to pass Mr. Garcia. But that's what it reads. And what was put on here, it wasn't what I asked for.
I was the one to second that item also as part of procedure, but I do concur. The request was very clear. It was very clear that we just wanted an interpretation on that specific line as part of exhibit of all those policies, all those the resolutions that were approved by council in different years, and they were only modified specifically to change on different dates of the year or times of the year. But that other language on rotation, that will rotate. And that question, that line was questioned a few times 2 weeks ago. And the attorney present at that day didn't have an answer. So to me, in mind you, this is part of the comment also, out of respect, I stay quiet. Out of respect to Ms. Colio, because that was her day to shine. That was the day for her to be welcome. But I know that I needed to say something, because we're talking about processes. We're talking about following, guidelines. Those are the same things that have put us in a position where we're talking about CDBG. We're talking about all these things. And I think my colleagues alluded to that also. So, and here we are. Here we are doing the same thing that we are mentioning that our previous colleagues did. So I think it's hypocritical to say that we're doing something different, because we're not. We're not. So a rotation didn't occur, at least not in one position. And as a result, that shouldn't be put, at least, that item should have been put for another meeting without that rotation happening. So at this point, that position, the mayor position, at least me, I don't recognize it. I don't recognize that position as mayor, or that individual as mayor. If we're going to be following guidelines, we have to be fair. If our businesses are looking up to us to provide guidance, to provide direction, let's start with ourselves here. Because if not, we're kidding ourselves. We're making a fool out of ourselves. So let's be fair. And as far as the item was not, the backup is not what we ask. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
You're okay.
I do have a question. Do you want Daniela to speak?
You want to go public? Let's go public comments. Daniela, you're first. Thank you.
Well, good evening again. So Daniela Flores for the record, Imperial Valley Equity and Justice Coalition organizer. So I'm here one more time to talk on this item, and really just to express to Councilmember Fernandez and Camilo Garcia, parece un berrinche, to be quite honest, to be fighting about this. Fight for the people. Fight for the people. Fight for the businesses. And let's see it in the public. If you're doing something in the background that is for the people, make it public. It's really disappointing that this is the only item that you have brought up for consideration. It's embarrassing that that's the one you choose to do when people have been out here trying to get support with their, during the pandemic. Small businesses could have benefited from a lot more support from the city had there been some support. So it's really disappointing to see that you're choosing to make a berrinche really out of this, and that other community members are supporting the berrinche by putting some lonas out there. I'm sorry, but it really take on the issues that matter for the people.
No, it's protocol. You're wrong.
What's protocol? What am I wrong about?
He said talk in English, but you don't have to speak in
Oh, pues lo digo en español también para que entienda la gente que está aquí. Lo puedo hacer en bilingüe también, todavía tengo tiempo. Me da vergüenza que están haciendo un berrinche aquí cuando estos miembros del concilio no han peleado por ustedes y los están defendiendo. Ellos no han traído nada a la mesa para pelear por ustedes cuando todos están batallando durante la pandemia. So, just to make the comment fully in Spanish. So really, show up for the things that matter. You're playing politics there. It's disgusting to see that that's what you care about. I really hope that you get to be outvoted as soon as possible. I can't wait to see other people sitting in that table because the conversations I've had, you roll your eyes at me. You failed to even look at me and recognize me. And so that's fine. Sigan con su berrinche, but you should really do what matters for the people because I haven't seen you do anything for the people, and if you have, you should make it public because we don't know.
Mr. Mayor, I did have
Yes, go ahead.
a comment.
Oh, there was some
Oh,
public.
is there a public comment? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I actually have a prepared speech, but I think it's a little too long, so I guess I'm going to wing it. Mayor Moreno, you wanted this position, okay? You got a lot of people here to support you, the young groups here, and it's actually very rude sitting here and listening that these young people here are very disappointing that they have an extremist city council member that guides them. You all need to understand what extremism is. And extremism is when a city council member forgets he's a representative for the business owners and the community members and wants to use this small budget of this community for social issues. We all care. I told you guys, I do immigration service for free. For anybody that you guys have, you guys know, I will do it for free what I can help. However, they are not the priority in our downtown. They're not. And so what I wanted to say is, Mr. Garcia, I wanted to thank you. Today, I hired someone. You don't need to be mayor. You did something for me really well, really awesome. I hired someone, and I hired tons of people through your service, you know that, during COVID, because I lost all my staff. And what I did, because you know, I hired all these young people, not them, but young people that arrived to Calexico because they were abandoned through school. I felt so bad for them, and you helped me to place those kids in my office. And I appreciate that, and today, I hired one more through your service. I want to appreciate you for that. Giselle over there, I know but Giselle over there knows that in downtown, we needed those services to be able to help people, and you were there. And unfortunately, this mayor that wanted this position so much, he doesn't show up for us, young people, okay? He may be showing up for you. I don't know what there is there as far as maybe some future plans or something, but the plans that you need to take care of right now, Javier Moreno, Mr. Second-Time Mayor, and proposal situation here, let's propose to make a priority the community, those who live here, those who is your jurisdiction, because your jurisdiction is not the transients that are coming from another country in here because your budget doesn't cover that. Your budget is only for city services and citizen services, and if you need your social issues to be taken care of, please have her guide you. Please have her help you to be able to obtain funding that you need, because the funding that belongs to this city needs to be spent on people who live here. And as an immigration consultant and as a taxpayer preparer, somebody here said that they know who lives here. We need to protect funding that belongs to the federal government, to the state government, and to the city government. Because, for example, if I do taxes for someone who lives in Mexicali, they're not supposed to get credits, but they do, and that's violation of the law. So I just also wanted to remind you all and the public that what happened last week was a violation of law. And with the 8 years that I experienced with 8 city managers, where a lot of different activities, and we all know that there was a lot of corruption, happens when you violate the law and you have open meetings, chain meetings, outside of the view of the public. And that is what occurred here. So I just want to let you know that the last time that happened was when the police officers were out of control in the city of Calexico, and they wanted to decide to hire their own chief. You saw that, Ms. Ureña, because all your friends did that. But that group's gone, and that corruption is gone. However, we learned what exactly is a Brown Act violation. Mr. Mayor, you should know that with your law enforcement experience. You should know what violations are, and you should have stayed away from that behavior and not have embarrassed us so much in front of this fine woman here that's just trying to come and help. So, really appreciate what happened last week as far as all the people that were here, but I did find it very, very rude of the young people that told those ladies that, well, how interesting that they just showed up all of a sudden. But a lot of you don't know that during the corrupt days of the cops, our city was really in danger. I would have wanted to see you there sitting and defending your city when you're here, these guys know, full of very dangerous people. Okay, so very different situation now, and guess what? Guess what, young people? Guess who defended your protection and your safety together with them? And they can come over here and say it. It was the housewives, it was the secretaries, it was the receptionists, it was regular everyday moms and the ladies that you saw here the other day. So I think that you ought to be a little more respectful because you don't know it all and you didn't experience it all. Okay, so I haven't come here in a couple of years because honestly, it was hard to do that. It was absolutely hard, and being a female. And I'm looking at you too because it's hard to see what you go through, wanting to participate because we need to participate. But also, young people, you should learn to bridge.
Manzanares. No, she's next. Give me that. Yeah.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Isabel Ureña. Un poquito más cerca. Mi nombre es Isabel Ureña, presidenta de Calexico. So, mi comentario solamente es, aquí se está discutiendo acerca de protocolo y como dijo el señor Camilo García, que es una hipocresía, sí lo es. El día que Raúl Ureña tomó protesta, se hizo una votación en la que no se consultó a todos los miembros, al parecer, del concilio para hacer esa decisión de quién quedaría como mayor y pro tem. Creo que por protocolo, tengo entendido, y díganme si estoy mal, por protocolo el señor Ureña, él ganó con un 70% al señor Ryzen, creo, y por protocolo a él le tocaba estar en esa silla. ¿En dónde está el protocolo? Quisiera saber. Muchas gracias.
Manzanares, you're next.
Buenas tardes, Gilberto Manzanares, just for the record. I hope that we're all smart enough to see that this is all just petty politics taking place right now. No se están hablando las cosas importantes. Así con esa pasión, Camilo, hubiera querido que hubieras hablado cuando estábamos peleando por el ARPA. Cuando seguramente ibas a votar por lo que el Miguel Figueroa te pusiera enfrente, que eran miserables menos de $1 millón para el downtown. Ahora tienes, así con esa pasión, te hubiera querido ver hablar sobre el eviction moratorium. Pero por un título, ahora sí te enojas, ahora sí tienes ganas. Y ahora sí pones tu primer artículo en la agenda de Calexico en 3 años. Tú tuviste que tener tu título en juego para ahora sí ponerte las pilas. Está bien, ok, ya sabemos cómo corre la política aquí. Y la señora Hurtado, que seguramente ya se fue porque sabía que iba a hablar de ella. No, pues claro, es un berrinche. Todo eso es un berrinche y la verdad, mira, es un falta de respeto a toda la gente que estuvo hablando del downtown. Y ustedes saben que yo siempre que vengo aquí hablo del downtown también. Porque estaré joven, pero soy suficientemente viejo para haber visto el downtown lleno de gente en las banquetas. Cuando cruzábamos de Mexicali al otro lado, me traía mal. La gente aquí trae los problemas de verdad y se van a poner a berrinchar. Y ya sabemos la jugada, Rosy, que hiciste también. La señorita ahorita la mencionó. You made sure that the top two most voted people in the 2020 election were last in the rotation. You made sure of that.
It took 3 votes, sir.
Comment. Entonces, la razón por la que ahora estamos peleando con el asunto de los homeless, de que a ver la bolita, a ver quién se la echa. La señora Hurtado was a city councilwoman, ¿verdad? Did she solve the problem? Did she make an effort to solve the problem? No, ¿verdad? El Ryzen también aquí, señor Ryzen poniendo sus letreros all over Calexico o con sus ayudantes, ¿verdad? Haciendo berrinche, because your friends are here y si se están peleando el título, literally just a title. A eso sí le ponemos ganas, qué vergüenza. Pero también la señorita aquí insultando, no sé por qué. All we're doing is getting involved, and just because we're doing that, we're getting attacked by a previous mayor of Calexico. Pero por su liderazgo, we can't do anything about it, ¿verdad? But advocate. Pero ella estuvo aquí sentada, ¿qué hizo? Now we're here 10 years later trying to solve the problems of previous councils of their inactions, ¿verdad? Pero aquí estamos y ahora se enojan and now they want to paint themselves as like, no, we did this, we did that. Pero ¿por qué? Estamos en election season, ¿no? Ahora se hacen show up. Thank you.
Mr. Penny Horton, you're up.
Distinguished members of the City Council, public at large. What I'm going to say comes from a very important part of myself. When you think of laws, you think of rules and regulations. When this country was formed, people like me were not considered a whole person. But the law says that we could be sold and put in bondage, and even the Supreme Court said it was okay. Just because the law says something doesn't make it right. Now we're discussing about certain things here, and we all know what it is. It's about what took place. We can color it, we can say whatever you want to say about it, but it's still there. And I am very displeased with my community. I was born in Calexico. I could have went anywhere else when I got out of the military, but I came home because I said my work needed to be finished. Now, I am so displeased because I remember what Calexico was about when I was young. I remember when I was in school, we would have bake sales downtown. Now you talk about downtown. I myself at this moment are working to revamp a business in Calexico. We're doing it ourselves, and this is a project that my broker allowed me to do. Now, we're talking about this rotation. Last night on Channel 13, they had a survey. I don't know if you saw the survey. They asked, do you figure that the mayor should remain the mayor? 25% said yes, 75% said no. That's what the people are thinking about it. I'm going to say something that, at the end of my point here, and I say that with regret, that I'm going to be, let's say, giving some papers to show what I'm about, what my character is about. And this is yours truly. Now you can criticize me, you can call it what it is, but I'll give it to the city council. And these are the papers for recall. So this is me.
No one else? Thank you. Okay, so, your item.
I did have a comment,
Okay.
just a quick comment. So my colleagues have said, and I don't know what title you specifically wanted on this item, but there is some legal analysis here. This item, el mismo que todos estamos viendo, prepared by our legal firm, Best, and Krieger. So the city attorney wrote this. What does it say? The city's current policy, per Resolution 2013-34A, approved on July 2, 2013, resolved to amend 2012 City Council policy that says, to rotate the mayor and mayor pro tem annually on the first regular meeting of July, beginning July 2013. However, and this is a part that's not quoted, this is something that the city attorney wrote. However, this policy does not provide any other procedure or guidance. The city council is free to elect council members to these positions annually at its first meeting in July at its discretion. Then it says issue analysis. Since the government code, talking about the state, does not prescribe any particular qualifications or procedures, cities have used a range of options to select the mayor and mayor pro tem. Then it says the staff report includes several options and policy considerations for council review. So long story short, there are no rules because all the councils before us haven't adopted any rules, and that's what the city attorney says. Now, I was happy to see this item on the agenda from my colleagues because I thought we were going to have a conversation as to what the people wanted. Do we want an elected mayor? Do we want to codify the rule of whoever gets the most votes? What is it that we're going to do moving forward? So I wanted to ask if there was any recommendations or proposals from any of my colleagues, or because otherwise the legal analysis is there, and it says we're free to elect council members because that's what the policy has been for the last 9 years.
Okay. With all respect, Mr. Ureña, I would like the legal to answer, because what I'm seeing here, that wasn't what I asked, and then I'm going back to what was it in the resolution that they had in 2011 and 2012? Because you're going back before that.
Respectfully, what I would offer is that this is frankly a decision that is up to the council. Whatever has been done before, the prior resolutions, the prior statements are not necessarily binding on this council. You are free to establish your own policies, the way you choose to do business, the way you choose to implement this issue. The latest guidance that we could find was from 2013, which appears to supersede anything before it. And the language is what it is, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's up to the council. It's up to the majority of the council to decide how they want to implement this procedure.
Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Yeah. But the question was very clear. Rotation. And to me, that wasn't a rotation. Okay? And that was a specific, ask. Okay? And everything else was a suggestion that wasn't asked. That could have been brought back and looking to prevent this type of situations, right? But that's what has been happening for years also. Where we ask and, very few times I've asked for something to go through legal. Why? Because it costs so much money, right? And you just gave me a dissertation here. That I wonder how much it's costing us. And I'm really, really hurting because, the financial impact. So I wanted just an interpretation of that language. Will rotate, which it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Yes, we can look at options later on, and that was what was discussed also 2 weeks ago, that maybe to avoid this type of situations, that we can look at these things. But again, this is not what was asked. Okay. So, but also, 2 weeks ago, the council that we had in attendance, and he has rarely give a straight answer. He's always in the gray area. He just sits there, and just it's a part of the audience. So again, this is not, to me, this is not actionable now because that's not what we ask. And I'm going to leave it at that. But again, please follow directions. City manager, I did speak to you on this subject, and you agree that you were going to look into that also. As to what we ask, I didn't want no options on policies or what other cities are doing. We all can do that also. We have the ability to do that. So if this can come back, just on that. That's my comment.
There is an answer, and it's specifically the one that was highlighted by the lawyer, which is those clauses, they don't have an established procedure in the way that they were passed in 2013. So at the end of the day, it's up to the council. And unless we change that, it will continue to be up to the council. So there's nothing preventing the re-election of a mayor, in essence. And that is the legal interpretation on the backup documents. And if, if it comes back, and it will say the exact same thing.
That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case.
But with that, I don't.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't what we wanted. That wasn't what I asked for, or somebody else asked for it. Because this is what I did not ask for this.
Maybe you can change it in future agenda items. We'll just
Right,
move
well,
on
she
and
wants
then
to table-
get
she
another
wants
one.
to table it, so I
Yeah.
guess that we'll table that to her request. Do we need to vote on that? No?
No.
We just table it.
You can have a motion to,
Right, then she'll make, yeah. You wanna make a motion to table it?
Second.
So second by Mr. Garcia. And so, we need to vote on it. Okay? Roll call.
Mayor Moreno,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pureña,
Yes.
Councilmember Romo, Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Arreola Fernandez.
Okay. So, we're looking to interpret the legal interpretation, or meaning of rotation. Okay, moving on to item 7. Adopt a resolution for the city council of the city of Calexico approving an interim intent to cooperate with any interested individuals or entities in an effort to bring potential housing developments and infrastructure projects to the city of Calexico.
Good afternoon. This last week, we met with a developer from Oasis at Las Palmas. And this developer approaches with a potential project for housing development. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Un poquito más para atrás del micrófono.
Ahí?
Por ahí.
Sorry.
There you go.
Maybe this is not working. Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me better? Yes? Okay. So last week, about 5 days ago, we met with a developer of a housing an affordable housing projects. Basically, it's known as the Oasis Las Palmas. This developer approaches with the intention to develop a property. They're still pending to certain items to acquire the property. And we were asked to see if the city is willing to support the developer by submitting grant applications. Grant applications for first-time home buyers because the project involves houses, but also involves affordable apartments, which requires rental assistance. What I mentioned briefly to this developer is that the city is open for business, for affordable housing. We all need housing. However, some of the grants prevent us from securing that fund specifically for a developer. But before that, I want to make sure that we all, in the understanding, the findings that we have, it doesn't belong only to CDBG. It's home program and Cal Home program. So literally, all the housing programs that we have right now, we're on hold. That's number one. Number two, first-time home buyer loan program that falls under the home partnership is a program that it has to be available for on a first-come, first-serve. And therefore, we cannot allocate those funds to a specific developer. If it happens that all his clients that are purchasing those properties come at the same time and apply and continue to complete the process, that will be great. But we cannot secure the funding for specific projects. There are other funding sources available. that we can approach, but only when the developer has all the boxes checked. And when I said all the boxes checked is having all the other funding available to proceed with the project. Then the city can support a project like that is sustainable. And this is the key too. Sometimes the cities are so desperate to secure funding, to secure affordable housing. But the cities sometimes put themselves at risk or dealing with projects that are not sustainable, and those projects come back to the city, and the city will have to pay for the consequences. And so it is my job as a new city manager to make sure that the projects are ready to go for construction or for development, and to prevent the city to become liable in the future. Today I'm here, maybe the next week I won't be here. But to that point, my job is to protect the city from any liability, and be assured that I will review the projects to detail and to support those businesses that are ready. So this resolution that you have today is a general resolution that covers any developer that come with us. We cannot assign staff to assist developers with grant applications specifically for that grant applicant, for that project. We open to business, the project is ready, we support the project, we're gonna work with the developer. But we're not gonna provide a specific, because we don't work for them. It's a business that they need to run, and a developer understands the processes. Usually developers come together with the whole application together. And when they tell us it's ready to go, we support them. And so we open to business. I want to make sure that everybody understands, whoever who knows me at the county level when I was working, I'm a full supporter of affordable housing. I don't want anybody to be homeless. But at the same time, we have to protect the city. Thank you.
We have a public comment. One public comment. Just one. Let's see, Rosa.
Jose Hinojosa, 1056 F. Torres Street, Hartstone Community. On behalf of the Hartstone Community, 244 homes and the half-built development, I would, Honorable Mayor and Council, I would love to have this council, with your guidance, to first look at this half-built subdivision. We only have one entrance. The city is liable for more than $9 million as we speak. So before, I think it's in the best interest of the community, before we enter into new business, why don't we take a look at the business that's already half done? We only have one entrance. The city is liable for anything that happens in that community. We're not paying the CFD. We don't have enough. We're not collecting enough to make the payment for the bond. So why don't we first look into that half-built subdivision and give developers the idea that we're not going to business. We're not going to give them anything before, you know, they have their performance bonds, before they checklist, before they come in and offer everything that our city, our community needs. So we've been working for almost 15 years in that community, trying to get resolved. We've been working with IID. We've been working with the city engineering department, with the mayor, with potential developers that are coming in to come in and build what was supposed to be there. So I would, in representing those families, those 204 families that are there, I would love for you guys to table this item and first include us in your special groups or special meetings that you have for developers, just por las familias que están allá. Porque tenemos más de 13 años, más de 15 años trabajando y no hemos obtenido lo que la ciudad nos prometió. Eso que acaba de comentar el administrador de la ciudad es muy cierto. Ella se va y se queda a mitad el desarrollo, así como lo ha estado. Es una vergüenza ese desarrollo para la ciudad y para el concilio y para todo el Valle Imperial. Entonces yo les pido por favor que este artículo lo dejen para la siguiente junta. No hay, se va a hacer, lo vamos a hacer y lo queremos desarrollo.
I just want to clarify something. This is actually good for you.
Yes.
This is giving us the opportunity to work with you. I don't know if you have read the resolution, but it technically says that we open for business and that we will work with you if your project is ready to go.
Yes, but
Yes.
we have to take a look at the people who are involved. That name that's there has been involved in several businesses that have not been favorable to the city. And in your backup information. So let's do full research. Let's do full research, and let's give back to the community. Let's do our due diligence. And then I mean we're gonna do it. I mean we're not opposing to it, but let's fully dissect this item, and let's give those people from Hardstone from the Hardstone community. Let's try to give them back now. Thank you.
So, do you want me to clarify the situation? Okay. So this resolution is so welcoming for any developer, housing development. For any developer that is ready to move forward, we will work with the developer if the state allow us to apply for funding, number one, because at this point, we're not even eligible to apply. So we're expecting to have all the findings resolved in 6 months. After that, in the meantime, we will be working with developers to ensure that they meeting all the boxes, that they checking all the boxes. And whoever is ready to go to submit an application, we will support those projects. That's a very generic resolution. It doesn't prevent this developer or any other developer to come and meet with us. We will be welcome them to set up an appointment, and we can bring 1 or 2 city council members to the meeting so you can experience well, we had to go through the whole process. Ms. Talinda, you want to come in front, please? And just so you know that we have been working together to ensure, to address the items that are needed for each one of the projects. We really want housing. We're looking for housing for all the families. We know that we have a problem. And this resolution is a welcoming resolution for everybody.
And if I may add, this is not the first time that an intent to collaborate comes before the council for consideration. It's open to anyone for any type of project. The purpose of this is to bring transparency to the process, and we've brought items like this before the council, and it states what we can and can't do as staff. And a lot of the projects, if we're even part of, it's sometimes because they require, or if there's a joint applicant part, and if we are partnering with the permission of the council, there is a benefit that will come if the grant is awarded. But this is for anyone who would like to collaborate with the city for any type of project, whether it be a park project, a development for residential, whatsoever. But it outlines what we can and can't do. It also says that we have to bring back reports on the status of what has been done, what has not been done. And now there are parameters set in the way we can function and collaborate with the project. So really, it is in an effort to bring transparency for when developers are coming back and forth. And sometimes it can be viewed differently, but if you read the resolution, that is what the purpose of it is for, really.
If I may?
Yes, sir.
I think one of the things that were mentioned was that there is a name attached to the resolution.
It's because,
Yes, but if we just take the name out. And based on the backup, that's how I read it, that it's just a welcoming, you know, kind of like mat that we're putting for developers and whoever wants to invest. And I think that's what we have been asking and looking for, right?
That's it.
So if we can just do away with that line, that name, that way that name is not attached to this resolution and it's not memorialized.
Okay.
Instead of going back and reworking this thing and spending more money, you know, on doing this resolution, if we can just make that change, make that little amendment there, and just move forward. Because I think, you know, it's time that, yes, we respond to Hearthstone, we respond to everyone, right? And this is the first step. So let's just make the change and move forward.
Mr. Garcia, can you make that a motion?
I make that motion to strike that name out of that resolution
And to
and
approve.
just make it in general that everyone is welcome, and let's just move forward.
Thank you, sir.
That would be my motion.
Will do.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so motion is made by Mr. Garcia to strike that name, second by Mr. Ureña. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Thank you, 5-0. Item number 8, introduction and first reading by title only of an ordinance amending Calexico Municipal Code Section 2.04.016 regarding City Council agenda order of business. And that was brought up by Mr. Romo.
It's only for this modification to the municipal code has as its object the permanent participation of the all commissions in this council. Okay? That's it. It's only for participation for the all commissions.
So I think that what you said is that you want all the commissioners to report?
It's inside with the agenda.
Oh, okay.
It makes a little item on the agenda
Right.
where commissions can give a report. Whoever is a commissioner, yeah,
Okay.
that's the only difference. I'll make a motion to approve.
You know,
Second myself. Yeah. Okay. The motion's the first, second.
Second.
Any more, no? Yeah? Okay, let's vote on it. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carried. Yes.
If we could please read the title of the ordinance,
Excuse me?
the title of the ordinance to be read.
You can read it by title only. It's a formal first reading. Thank you.
Okay,
Ordinance, this is an ordinance amending the Calexico Municipal Code Section 2.04.060 regarding City Council agenda order of business.
thank you. Moving on to item 9, approval of resolution authorizing the destruction for certain department records as per city records retention and destruction policy.
On this, Esperanza, I know that, you know, and you did mention that there is some pending issues. All of these documents have been vetted that, you know, none of this, you know, it's, you know, remotely tied to this, any of this situations. Because as you know, you should keep your documents until your audits are clear. As you know, from your previous job, that you know, you're very familiar with that.
Yes.
So just want to make sure that I point that out, that before, and I'm pretty sure that you did your due diligence.
Yes.
But just make sure that
Yes.
they're not destroying anything that,
No.
you know, okay.
Thank you.
Okay?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Anybody second it?
Second.
Mr. Garcia seconds it. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, removal of Mayor Pro Tem Ureña's current appointee to the Economic Development Financial Advisory Commission and request to advertise the vacancy. We had Mr. Benny Horn to talk about that, but I guess he's gone. So,
That's it.
okay. Anybody make a motion for that? Any discussion?
Is a motion needed, or is it just?
It really is up to the Vice Mayor, each of you make appointments, and you're free to.
Oh, I will not make an appointment at this moment. So we'll just advertise and I'll wait for applicants
Okay.
to come in.
Got it. All right,
What's that? Oh, sure. Which is reading the title, right? Yeah, I guess effective immediately, Mr. Benny Horton is removed from the Economic Development Commission under my placement, and we will be advertising the vacancy, and I look forward to new applications for this position.
Okay, got it? Okay. So, future agenda items? Ms. Romo, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I would like Ms. Colio to present to this council and at our next regular meeting, please, a general report of the last 3 years of the bid budget, please. Commission for the bid. And then also, Mr. Colio, when you are ready with the information, please submit to this council a general report on all the housing programs that the city of Calexico has managed with the state of California and inform us of the current situation of this program. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
I also have a couple, but they're not urgent. There might be one that is a little bit more urgent, but here they go. And they do come from previous administrations, so I definitely have some patience with these. It's actually a list of things that I would like to submit to legal review to see if they could be reconsidered, if they're eligible for reconsideration. The first one is to see if we can reconsider the hero pay ordinance that was proposed a couple months ago. Hero pay? Hero pay ordinance. I want to see if we can reconsider the tax agreement for Crossroads Plaza. I want to see if we are able to reconsider this year's appointments to Housing Authority commissioners. Not for reconsideration, just an item. We have to approve an ad hoc committee for grant writing. We do have some backup documents that we'll be providing for that item. There was an item that came from planning where Development Services asked us if we could consider partial waiving or a moratorium on impact fees of ADUs, accessible dwelling units, from 750 to 1,200 square feet. I will be submitting a couple letters that will just be for other agencies so we can approve some letters. And then separately, as you work on the budget, there were some funding requests. All of these would fall under the purview, I'm guessing, of arts and recreation. And one from the general. There is a funding request from the Imperial Valley Food Bank for their Harvest Bowl sponsorship. This is the first time Imperial Valley Food Bank is hosting their Harvest Bowl in Calexico, and I'll submit information on that. There was a funding request from Roy Dorantes for his film Ni Una Más. There was a funding request from the electric box project from Calexico Needs Change. There's some estimates that are pending, but the electric box decoration project, and I think somewhere around $750 for the history of anime mural with Sergio Ojeda, the one that's on the west side. I think he's already contacted you before. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Raul Fernandez? Rosie?
No, I don't have
Nothing? Mr. Garcia?
Esperanza, if I can have a very thorough analysis on the legal expenses, what had cost us, for this year that just finished. It is my understanding that we paid in the amount of $700,000.
Yes.
And for the last 5 years. So I think we're talking about investing, but also we need to find ways to maybe probably find options also, how we can probably be more, stretch our dollars, our funding. So a lot of requests coming from the citizens, so we need to find ways how we can really make and get our money's worth. And that's not to say that's not happening, but to me, $700,000 is way too excessive for legal fees. So if you can just at least go back to 5 years, and then with that, maybe when you have that, maybe present to this council options that we might have in how we can save, whether it's RFP, whether it's having in-house counsel, whatever that might be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. I only have 2 items. The first one is close the recruiting for the chief of police position. That's been open. We need to close that chapter and then look for ways to assess the internal operations, I guess, what's going on with the police department, all this stuff that you need. Look for ways to, and I don't know if you can brainstorm on that, but look for ways to assess the police department in terms of operations, leadership, and everything else there. It was traditionally, when I remember a long time ago, traditionally the city manager, the city clerk, and the mayor was on, I believe, on this side, and now it's shifted somewhere else. I think if we start preparing to maybe look for ways, obviously, go this way, make sure everybody's in the same room for efficiency. Maybe we're in the same page. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of each other. I think we're in the same room, talking to each other and really moving the city forward with all the projects we got going. Will certainly go on, pay dividends for us. It just avoids the redundancy of extra work and phone calls, and I think maybe look a way to move that way. That's all I have. I need a motion to close.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by adjournment, Mr. Reña.
Second.
Second, Mr. Ramos, in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Close. Thank you.